had a very similar trajectory, and I think the way that we were raised was to be independent and individual, and earn our way through life, and not ever ask for it. My mom did everything that she could for us. The thing that I'm most grateful for, and I spoke to her about this recently, and I said, I'm most grateful for you for instilling this value, is like, go earn your place in the world, right? That goes a long way. That's a lifelong thing. And my mom is usually like, she calls out a false note or something, she'll tell me, right?
Yeah.
So like, despite the fact that she loves me and she's biased, I think that I also regard her opinion because she's such an accomplished artist herself. Honestly, she's, and I mean no disrespect by this, but like, she's so maternal and like nice.
So sweet.
She genuinely is. Like, she was just like looking out for everyone.
Hi Ishaan, welcome to the Quint.
Thank you.
Even though the show is like a whodunit, right? What I really enjoyed in the show was also the layers of complexities they show in relationships, and the fact that no relationship can be black and white. There's always these shades of grey.
Yeah.
And it's actually the imperfectness that actually adds dimensions and layers to any relationship, right?
Yeah.
So while we accept the flaws and we enjoy the greatness in relationships, what are your non-negotiables when it comes to relationships?
Ooh, loaded. You pivoted hard. Wow. In a relationship, I think loyalty is above all to me.
Yeah.
And that is not to say, I don't mean in terms of just being, physically loyal, but also emotionally being there when it counts most.
Yeah.
Being compassionate and thoughtful about the other person is a non-negotiable.
We can
but
talk-
not too many other. Like, I'm not very conditional sort of person.
Yeah.
These things are important values to me, but beyond that, like...
Yeah, I guess as far as in the core you're okay and the morals match, the rest of the things we can work around.
Amen.
You know, of course, working with someone like Nicole Kidman is an incredible experience. So,
I mean, there's someone like Nicole Kidman I've heard so much, but who's the other?
huh?
It's Nicole Kidman only.
Yeah.
She's an icon.
But you've also worked with so many other great actors.
I've worked with
right?
wonderful actors
Yeah.
who are all honestly distinct and beautifully individual and established in their
Yeah.
own rights. Particularly the women that I've got to work with, it's a bit of a dream. I don't know
Really?
how, why, like what are the stars. You know, my mom keeps telling me कि तुम क्या किस्मत दिखवा के आए हो यार, मतलब तब्बू के साथ भी काम कर रहे हो, ज़ीनत अमान के साथ भी काम कर रहे हो, निकोल किडमन के साथ भी कर रहे हो.
Exactly, right?
I don't know how, and I don't know, it's my good fortune, and I hope it carries on, because it's a pleasure to work with such beautiful actors, and and I'm so happy to celebrate how they're thriving,
Yeah.
you know, like for decades.
Yeah. So I was going to actually point this question just towards Nicole Kidman, but now that you mentioned the others, I'm going to include all of them in the list and ask, what has been your one takeaway from each of them as you worked with them on these sets?
I'll start with Tabu. She was the first
Yes.
that I worked with among these three. For me, what was most striking was that it was so uncomplicated working with her. Like, it was simple. It was so much fun. There was no deliberation and thinking and, you know, like pretentious notions about aise karenge, layer karenge, वगैरह. It was like the camera would come on and she would come alive in her character, and I would do my thing, and we would play off of each other, and moments would just happen, like unscripted moments would happen. And it's the most satisfying thing as an actor. She's also like notoriously naughty and fun. And it was a
I've
great
heard
time.
so.
She's very naughty. Like, it's like you'll never know. Like, she's the worst. And then in the best way. Zeenat ji, I recently got to work with on Royals, and she's just amazing, an icon, and she's honestly the sweetest person. How generous she is. Also with her words and her praise, like, it was honestly embarrassing because, you know, one looks up to her so much and she's just so lovely.
Yeah.
But she just makes it so nice to be around her. And of course, like, the way she carries herself, the elegance and the grace, that is something that I hope would rub off, you know, to whatever degree. With Nicole, I mean, she's a global icon.
Yeah.
And for good reason. She has, you know, the set of eyes that are just like, kind of earth-shattering, like you just want to like get arrested when she stares at you. They're almost hypnotic, and I think all the young actors felt that way. But I loved it. Like, I enjoyed it so much. I was to look right into them and play. And I think it goes so much beyond that, because she's a very well-rounded person.
Yeah.
And she's a wholesome person. She was so invested and interested in the cultures that I'm closer to. She had a lot of questions, and I was, pleasantly surprised to know how involved she is. And That's what makes her, I guess, the artist that she is.
But what is she like off camera? This is like on screen,
She's
right?
like,
This is how you feel.
Honestly, and I mean no disrespect
Yeah.
by this, but like she's so maternal and like nice.
So sweet.
She genuinely is. Like she was just like looking out for everyone. She's obviously been doing this for decades and is a very finessed actor. So that calm shows.
What has the response been like for you from family?
It's been lovely. I think they're very proud. Particularly my mom. I think she saw it first. Gone and done projects that nobody really knows. Like there are different, because these are spaces like no one in my family is even explored. And my mom is usually like, she calls out a false note or something. She'll tell me, right?
Yeah.
So like despite the fact that she loves me and she's biased, I think that I also regard her opinion because she's such an accomplished artist herself. She has a keen eye, and she approved. And she was like, she's like, "Tum kaise kar lete ho yaar? You know, you did the accent also and this and that." And she's like, and I think somewhere she's like very proud because she feels I have always known who you are, but it matters a lot to me to see you thrive, and that is the best feeling when you can make a parent proud.
That is so nice. That is so nice. And she should be proud. I mean, look at the work you've done. So how different are the sets in comparison to back home?
I think there's many differences in like protocols and structures and setups and things like that. But the main difference is all of that is driven from the cultural differences. Otherwise, essentially what we do is the same. Same process, it's the same, I mean, at large. The major differences are cultural when it comes to their work and their, professionalism. They're very structured and they're very specific, and they're able to distinguish every department very clearly.
I'm going to move away from the show a little bit. The last time we met, I remember you had said, you pick your projects and films, looking at it in a base of what kind of helps you hone your own craft and your own talent, as opposed to just looking at them, which adds fame, right? When you look at that, if there's a project that comes to you which may look like, oh, commercially it's going to do fantastic, but it may not align with what you think will help you own your talent, does it then make it sort of difficult for you to say no to something?
I feel differently now, for one. I think I also have a little more self-confidence and, have my back a little more. At core level, I'll always be the same. I'll always be greedy actor, hungry actor.
As it should be.
Ideally, you're trying to crack a balance where there is enough space that you can do something with it. There should be enough playroom and enough potential to, if it's not on the page, to draw it out in a character. And sometimes that can be a healthy challenge. As knowing goes, I mean, you can only know potential. You don't know the final outcome of anything, really. That's the ultimate truth of it. Like, nobody knows exactly how anything
Absolutely.
I'd be more drawn towards doing projects that can find a larger audience, because this is the common man's art. We do this for that reason, and it'll empower me going forward to also be able to support projects that need it, perhaps. That star power can be used in that positive way as well. So of course that's important to me, but always hungry actor.
Yeah, as it should be, like I said. I mean, without then, they were just going to stop, right? We're like, I have arrived. Ho gaya mera.
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's too scary.
You're also somebody who seems like keeps his private life very close to your heart. But the world that we live in and the requirement of actors to be seen and put their lives out there seems a bit too much sometimes, right? Does that part about being an actor sometimes bother you? Or do you think, well, it's part of the game?
Part of the game. So like you have to get used to it. You don't really have a choice. You can choose how to conduct yourself.
Yeah.
And you can choose, you can decide where your boundaries are.
Yeah.
And I think I have a good sense of that. I will not be taken for a ride because it's easy to be exploited. Media is going to do the media's thing. What's the point of trying to become now vigilante against? Like, you do your thing, if they give you your space, that's great. You appreciate that. That's admirable.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then you take it.
Is there an instance from your life that kind of impacted you very significantly, that kind of shapes the person who Ishaan is today?
बड़ा आसान सवाल है
यार मुझे तो बहुत सोचना पड़ता है इसके बारे में मुझे तो बहुत सोचना पड़ता है इसके बारे में
नहीं I'm kidding. I can't think of one moment, but just observing my mom and the way that she's kind of taken on things in life and taken them as a challenge.
Yeah.
I think it gave me a spirit of like making the most of what I'm dealt, the cards that I'm dealt. And that's been it's a big part of my personality since I was a kid. when life is kind to you, like everything feels like a blessing and genuine gratitude. And gratitude is honestly one of the best feelings in the world. Like when you feel when it comes from inside,
Yeah.
it's a great place to be in because
Yeah.
life is quite simple. I'm glad for whatever life taught me, I was able to develop an attitude which is about moving forward and being positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without saying much.
I resonate with what you're saying. It also
It's
makes
the
us
human
very
condition.
self-reliant, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They just get up
Props
and
to you.
yeah, to you too. In 2020, there's something that you said that I'm going to take you back to. You said that, I have no ego about being recognized as Shahid Kapoor's brother, but it's not something that I'm going to ride on, right? I think 4 years later, you made a mark for yourself. Are you seeing things changing around you?
Yeah, I think the way that both of us were raised, my brothers, we're about 14 years apart, but we had a very similar trajectory. And I think the way that we were raised was to be independent and individual and earn our way
Yeah.
through life and not ever ask for it. So honestly, it was never even a thought to me to like ask and I shall receive. My mom did everything that she could for us. The thing that I'm most grateful for, and I spoke to her about this recently, and I said, I'm most grateful for you for instilling this value is like, go earn your place in the world, right? That goes a long way. That's a lifelong thing. I had no points to prove. And I'm in no hurry to, convince people with my words. Like, we're lucky to do this. And
Your work is already doing it, Ishaan, really.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for talking to me. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Ishaan.
Likewise.
Thank you.